Between now and then, we're still waiting for answers, but I am leaning very strongly to where we started this entire month out at prior to looking for that bounce to last week. So run you over here real quick. Finished out the week below that 39.20. Not good over on the SPX. Not good. We did have a green week. We did break above that 39.45, that 200-day moving average for, a couple of minutes there on Thursday. Had that big run, 100-point range there on Thursday after gapping down 13 points. Closed green, open, close all week long except Friday. Closed green above the open. Different compared to the previous day's close. Got a lot more red on the board than you got green there, going all the way back to when we hit that 40.17 where we were getting short. 155 point range, not terrible, but from a wider point of view, we've got a 270 point range for the month so far. 252 was all that we traded in February, but you can go back all the way to December of 2021, and seeing less than 300 points is very odd. As you remember, back in February, we were looking for that move down to around 37.95. It took until last week, March 13th, to get to that 38.08. So it's still a little bit unfulfilling from a move to the downside point of view, but at the same respect, coming off of that February high, 41.95, 38.08, it's still less than 300 points. So it's still fractionally in the middle of maybe, maybe not. So we go to our charts. And again, starting with Grandpa, the Dow Jones and the damage that has taken place on the Dow Jones is a very large warning sign just because we had that NASDAQ move. Yes, looking for an ABC. Yes, it did complete here, but what is very, very non-bullish is how we're closing right there at the 50 retracement to the October lows, and we are closing below the 5, the 10, the 200, the 20, the 100, the 50. We've closed below all of it, and the Dow Jones is in some serious damage with more room that can still be placed down to the downside. Take you here, since we're on this chart, and it's the only one I'm going to type a ticker symbol into with the IWM. Yeah, got that really weird fucking candle at the end of the day on IWM. But here, same time frame on IWM, already down here on the December lows. And if you want to zoom it out a little bit more, it's not far off of those October lows, and it is not in a good place. Not in any way, shape, or form. 5, 10, 200, 100, 20, 50, below all of it on the close, and down there at 30% from the all-time highs. Not a good place to be over on the Russell 2000. So where it all comes is, let me skip this and move over to, go backwards, your NASDAQ. You had a 9.32% decline from the February highs. And this week, off of that low, off of that big 286, an 8.5% move to the upside, up there to this 309, and then you had your Kramer tweet. I mean, this couldn't have come out at a better time with Kramer tweeting. Where is it? Where's the Kramer tweet? Yeah. Short this NASDAQ and invite me to your funeral. You couldn't have picked a better time to have tweeted that, Jim, because it comes out right here at 305.87. You got your little spike there on OPEX Friday, quad witching, and you're closing under that 305.87 there on Friday. For me, why I took that trade and why you guys all had that alert, both on the initial entry for this week, March 24, but then that alert that went out there on Monday morning, which went a little bit more than 50% intraday, and I still like it going out there to April 6th. You got 302.81 is 1% from Kramer's tweet, but more importantly is this 303.39 and that 304. We lose 304, you have a direct hit to 300. 300 fails, and you are once again back at that 296.58, which is your big bull bear line. Lose it, and again, coming right down on your 50 and your 200, which I said last week, we were going up. There was no question about it. They were not going to waste that bullish crossover on the 50 and the 200. Lo and behold, they got a little bit more than they should have gotten, breaking above that 304. In fact, breaking above that 300 was a little bit more than it should have gotten. And as you can see here on this day, here on Thursday, this is an algorithm. This is quad witching OPEX. This is what I tried to make sure everybody was well aware of, is that the money you're trading with, regardless of how large or small it is, it's nothing compared to these big institutions that trade the quarterlies. That's why I won't trade on the quad witching Fridays. So anyway, here's your NASDAQ. And again, not looking very bullish from a let's get in now and try and see if we can get that 315. Here we go on the trade is why I was posting it out. You've got your 313, your 314, your 315 right up here, up above you. And again, 315 is your 2021 open. So we've got our move here. Obviously, a very nice inverted head and shoulders, very possibly a cup to move to the upside. And as you can see, you've got your triple resistance here that has rejected, and we've just fractionally missed it over here. So for me, I am continuing to very strongly lean into the view that we are due to make a visit to 300 and see what happens from there as we get into Wednesday. Where was it? Here, again, your SPX. So we had a 4-point move off of the bottom of that 3808. We knew, again, going into the week, markets don't bottom on Friday. We were going to go lower on Monday. Came right to a very beautiful place. This is why we were making money on the bullish puts. This is why, again, trade of the week last week. Depending on what your entry was, it was anywhere from a 60% to a 150% return on those 38.55, 38.50 puts for Friday. Come back, though, and look at where we are. And again, not good. We closed fractionally above that 39.08, right where the 5-day moving average happens to be. The 10-day, the 200-day, the 100-day, the 20-day, and way, way up there, the 50-day, all way above. Dow Jones, Russell 2000 are your arms. Your NASDAQ is your legs. The legs are doing way too much work, way too much, having taken all of that rotation out of the banks, out of the oil, out of the crude, out of all of those things that are not AI related. Way too much taking place over there, and I do not like how we are holding here at this 39.20. We make one close below that 3900, we're immediately going to be retracted down to that 38.50, 38.40. From a wider view, again, looking at this as when I was showing before on these big moves down, this still to me looks, like I said 2 weeks back, it looks like September. It looks very much like September, where we had our drop off of August, we got our bounce, and we've got a lot more downside to come here. We got our drop in February, we got our bounce. This very much looks like we have some more downside that is coming to us. And the first two places that we're going to be looking at is right down there at that September or the December low and the November low. Should we get down to those places, we are undoubtedly going to be in a little bit of trouble as we head into that 37.64, possibly even 3700. I don't think that we'll break down much farther below that 3700. So a few more points down lower over here to the December low may be enough to be attractive for it. But once again, I am still into this entire view that we've got with the full moons. And I've got two here in gray. All right. Tracking on the full moons, I want to be very specific. That 40.78.49 was 1 day before the full moon. That to me that's it. And that makes it look like September. Now, this one here, where we hit the 3808 on Monday, that was 4 sessions. I'm giving it an asterisk. I'm giving it a Barry Bonds all-time home runs kind of record for the moment. But again, we start breaking down into that 3855 area because again, even though we broke down into the bear market levels, we never closed below the bear market levels at 3855. We make pressure down on that 3855, 3840 area and close down there. I'm going to be a lot more confident that we are heading down to that 3760, possibly even below 3700 to go see that November low again. I'm not yet going to rule out going and seeing the June lows, which are right over here. Nope, that's your July lows, your June lows, right over here down at 3636. So I'm not ruling it out, but I'm not playing for it as well. Right now, this over here in September, coming off of August, and this over here in February, coming into March, very, very, very much is looking as if we have more lower due to come to us. So, again, not really going to beat a dead horse because you got Monday, blah. You got Tuesday, Donald Trump going to prison. Not going to prison, getting arrested. You got Wednesday, Jerome Powell. Now, a lot of people want to go out there and talk about raising rates, pausing, only doing a quarter. These are people that have absolutely no idea what the whole idea and concept of raising interest rates is all about. Has nothing to do with inflation. But what you will see here is your NASDAQ. And your NASDAQ daily, you're right up here into overbought fractionally, but you've got a little visit into overbought. Just like over here, you've just got a little visit into overbought. Your upper Bollinger Band, for the first time since that rally up there into February where we broke it, was also made contact with during the course of this week. Not fantastic. It has made contact with the upper Bollinger in these rallies off of June, rode all through it, did the same thing back in March last year, made a couple of visits to it over here in November. So it's just something to be very, very aware of when you are attempting to be bullish, when you are already banging your head up on the ceiling. Come over on the weekly, and it's a little bit of a different story. Over here on the weekly, I'm not going to say that you've got a sell divergence on the weekly. I'm not going to say that yet. But once again, running these upper Bollinger Bands, and even though things do look bullish, you're at a very, very dangerous place right here at this 12,200. So show it here on the QQQs, and a little bit easier to see. Again, on the daily, fractionally overbought, broken over that upper Bollinger Band, having ridden that upper Bollinger Band all through January into that February high. You've got your 314 right across there, as you can see it in green, and you've got your 300 right there, as you can see there in red. Anything that comes down below that 300, you're unfortunately coming back to make pressure onto that 285 area, 285, 286. That's just the way that it looks. So start going through here, and some guys were asking, what do you mean by weight? What do you mean by weight? So there's a website here that I always go to, which gets updated periodically, and I like it. I like the way it flows. They don't run any ads on it. It's cool with me. Slickcharts.com, NASDAQ 100. And what we talk about here with weight is these stocks have different weights. Even though there's 100 stocks in the NASDAQ 100, they don't weigh the same. So I'll run the calculation here with you on screen just so we can see. Microsoft is 12.609 plus 12.263 for Apple plus 62.76. Come on, man. For Amazon plus 5.012 for NVIDIA plus 3.783 for Goog plus 3.756 for Google plus 3.576 for Tesla and plus 3.676 for Facebook. 51% of the QQQ are these 8 stocks, which is really 7 because Google is split up into Goog and Google. These 7 names make up 51% of QQQ. So again, NVIDIA, you want to short NVIDIA, trade QQQ. Broken the upper Bollinger Band, everything looking bullish over here. RSI up to 81. As you can see, this 230 area that it broke up above filled the gap from way back here over in May. That's done. And you've got that 177 down below. AI. Apple got a fractional little bit of an overbought sell divergence. Not really. I wouldn't call it a sell divergence. Not even there. Slightly getting a little bit better on your true strength index. And again, right over here at your 157 and your 151 is right there below. Not much. Again, 157, 151, not a big move. Makes a big move on the QQQ. Microsoft, extremely overbought. As overbought as it was coming in here into November of 2021. Extremely overbought over here on the daily, having broken that 275, and you can see where your 275 is, going back here in July, coming over here in your lows here in September, your support in the beginning of the drop in 2022, your resistance in June. You're right at that supply zone. So again, 250, not the end of the world, but obviously a very big move if it's going to drop from 280 to 250. AMD, I remember where I was when AMD first broke 100 for the very first time. Don't forget that. So here we are again, up above 94. Same thing, extremely overbought over here on the daily. Fantastic opportunity over here, just like Microsoft, for selling some call credits over the course of this week. I'll have some trades for you on the email on Monday. And come over here onto Meta. Meta, a little bit zoomed in because there's such a big gap falling down from way back in the beginning of the year. You got a big gap over here unfilled down to 155 from earnings before. Here you are breaking above 200, back below 200, that 195. Again, this 180 zone is where you're basically going to be fighting everything. If you can get the 180, you're looking at 175. 167 needs to get broken for that gap to be filled over here at 155. I'm not looking for that gap to fill until we get earnings at the end of next month. If it fills prior to that, I'll take the puts off. But that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for something to come over here during earnings. So again, Tesla not involved with everybody. 313, big drop to 101, 75% from the all-time highs, 100% bounce over here to 214, and now it's just flating around between that 150 200 area. So nothing really to be involved with Tesla, but showing it because it does weigh. As you can see here on your daily, you did get pretty oversold. That oversold didn't mean anything as we were heading down here. So still could be looking at a little bit of downside over on Tesla, but I wouldn't expect too much. Wouldn't even be playing it next week. Google broke above 100. Yay! It broke above 100. Yay! These things are so cheap, so easy to play. You can see your 102, 103 over here from all through October, December. You're right back to it. Google's going home to 94. So AVGO, Broadcom. The only reason I shared Broadcom on here is because Broadcom, if you scroll down, is the number 9 weight on the QQQ. It's worth 2%. So if you included Broadcom into the QQQ, those 9 stocks represent 53% of the QQQ. And here you are over on Broadcom, getting a little bit of a weak sell divergence, not really, just roll off over on the RSI. Wouldn't even trade this thing, but yeah, 600, that's going to be your support zone, even if you do get a dip. But coming down from 630 down to 600, not too bad of a move. Could have a little bit of an impact onto what happens there with the QQQ. So finally, I'll leave you here with this, right? Firstly, in the email there on Friday, threw it out there. I'm not trading quad witching, but I threw out those trades. Let me scroll down here as we go into the spreads. That instead of taking the 0 DTEs, go out. I threw out the trade of the week for next week, which I like, 40-55, 40-50s. Also threw out that 40-25, 40-20 if you wanted to be more aggressive, the last few trades. Then I threw out the PDT trade for trading on Monday, the 40-25, 40-20 calls. Oh, that was for today. Yeah, that was the risk trade for today. This one, 40-25, 40-20 for Monday, 80 cents. Wakefield, 75 cents. Almost got full credit on them. QQQ added this late in the morning or early in the morning there on Friday because 315, 314, getting a 50% return on that, you got to jump on it. You have to jump on it. So, again, a couple of people took it. Again, one of those things I'll be looking to ride through the end of the week. So, again, you have everything going on here from Monday and Tuesday and into Wednesday, and you will get zero clarification, zero confirmation until we get into that 2:30 to 4 o'clock FOMC question and answer period, which happens after the meeting, after the results, and they start asking him questions about the banks. Leaving you here on this link here because, again, I don't follow this guy, but it was in my feed. Somebody shared it with me as well. There were greater than 20 private jets that went to Omaha on Saturday, and they were all coming from major banks. So is there something due to come out on Monday about banks all being secured by Warren Buffett? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. What I do have the answer for is that on Monday, what we're looking at immediately is 1% above the close is 39.55.81. 1% below the close is 38.77.47. We will see where we are after futures open on Sunday night. We will see where we are as we get ready to go into the opening bell on Monday. But before I let you go, and because I am using a very, very specific clarification that we will not know what we know until we know it, and that won't be, in my opinion, until Wednesday or a close below 38.55. I am non-political. I think all of them are complete pieces of shit. All you're doing is voting for the better of the worse. But I do have something to leave you here with, which I think everybody will get a chuckle on. And if you're one of those guys that are still wishing you were there on January 6th and you want to condemn me and think that I have a political view about this video, you got a pretty sad life, dude, because I think Trump could beat the shit out of Biden, and I can't wait until they have the election coming up here in 2024. So enjoy this little clip. Have a fantastic Sunday morning. Have a fantastic Monday night while you're sleeping watching the futures, and I'll see you guys in the chat room.
Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Goodbye, everybody. I've got to go. Gotta leave you all behind and face the truth. Mama, oh, I don't wanna die. I sometimes wish I'd never been born at all. I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, when you do the fun, done go. Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo, Magnifico. I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me.
He's just a poor boy from a poor family, sparing his life from his monstrosity.
Easy come, easy go. Will you let me go? Build a wall. No, we will not let you go. Build a wall. We will not let you go. Build a wall. We will not let you go. Let me go. Will not let you go. Let me go. Will not let you go. Let me go. Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has the devil put aside for me, for me, for me. So you think you can stone me and sing my life? So you think you can love me and leave me to die? Oh, baby, can't do this to me, baby. Just gotta get out, just gotta get right out.